You're listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show, where wealth is empowering, purpose is crucial, and high vibes are non-negotiable. And now, here's your host, certified business coach and practical woo strategist, Sara J Loureiro.
Welcome to another episode of the Uplevel Your Online Business Show with me, Sara. And today I wanted to talk about consistency just because I know that so many of you struggle with consistency. And I'm going to tell you exactly why you're probably struggling with consistency as well. I think this will be a very helpful episode. And I feel like hopefully it's going to inspire you. And it's going to inspire you to rethink how you are thinking about your own motivation and your own time that you can truly spend around your business. I am known by a lot of my business friends as the consistency queen, and not just my business friends, actually. If I can gloat a little bit here with you, I have consistency in basically every single area of my life. Of course, sometimes it goes up and down. It's not always super fluid. But what I can definitely say is I am a disciplined person and I am someone who makes the time for things that I find really important. And I think that that's one of the very first things that I want you to start to think about in terms of your consistency around your business is, what are you devoting your time to currently? What are the things that are most valuable to you? And I can almost guarantee that if you have a consistency problem, you very, very likely have a time problem. And it's not just because of your lack of motivation, it's probably because of your lack of perception around how much time you realistically have currently to commit to your business. Now, allow me to explain this because I think that this can be really hard. It can be complex for a lot of people. And the reason why I know this is obviously I've coached hundreds and hundreds of coaches and consultants in terms of growing their online businesses now. But I've also spoken to friends about this. And what I've realized is that a lot of people who have consistency problems actually have time management problems, and not necessarily time management where you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, I'm kind of out of luck because I can't manage my time properly. It's more of, where are you focusing your time? Where are you prioritizing your time? And are those priorities the priorities that you actually want to have in your life? Are those the things that you want to spend your time doing above spending time on your business? And a lot of us just don't really ask ourselves these really, really important questions, which is why we land in the place of inconsistency, because we just think that we can do it all. We think that we can handle it all. And we think that we have infinite amounts of time. And we say, oh, sure, yeah, I'll fit it in here. Or I'll fit it in this other little area of my life. But then we also don't understand our own energetic constraints, because it's not just time. It's also the energy around what you're doing with your time that matters, right? And so if you look at what you are currently doing with your time, so if you just take a broad look, and this is something that I ask a lot of my clients to do and something that I coach on is, what are you doing every single day of the week? You need to tell me when you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep. How many hours of sleep are you getting? Like, what does all of that time look like for you? What are you doing on the weekends? What are you specifically doing on a Saturday? What are you specifically doing on a Sunday? If you're telling me that you're spending time with your family, what does that look like for you? Because I can almost guarantee you that you can fit in a few hours that you're not currently fitting in for your business. And you're likely not currently fitting in those hours for your business because you're energetically drained in another area of your life. And so these are things that you really have to be serious about with yourself. And so when we think about consistency, we also want to think about time. How much time do we currently have to commit to the thing that we really want to commit to? And what are the other things that are taking up our time that we don't even notice or realize that we're actually prioritizing above the thing that we really want to commit to the most, the thing that we want to be most consistent with, which is our businesses. So when you do this, you're probably going to see that there are things in your day-to-day or even in your week, let's say, for example, that you're doing that you don't realize that you're doing and that you don't realize are energy vampires that are taking you away from becoming consistent in your business. So sometimes my clients will tell me things like, okay, well, yeah, like my most important things are spending time with my family, and obviously I need to go to work. And so we start talking about their day, and they will give me all of the different things that they do in their day. And then I'll be like, okay, well, why don't we focus on the business between the time that the kids go to bed and you go to bed? And they'll be like, oh, I didn't even realize that. That's usually the time where I just like sit down in front of the TV and turn on Netflix. But do you want to be turning on the TV and being on Netflix, or do you want to be consistent with your business? Which one of those things is most important to you, and which one of those things is most valuable to you? And if you're going to tell me that the thing that's most valuable for you is doing your business, then we have to ask ourselves why you keep on going to sitting in front of the TV and watching Netflix. If you're going to say, no, I need my Netflix time, that is the valuable time for me, you probably shouldn't be running a business. And you probably shouldn't be running a business on the side of working a 9-to-5 and having a family. You can absolutely do all of those things, but there's something that needs to be sacrificed in order to gain it. And I think a lot of people just don't want to make sacrifice. Hence, they start to make up all of these different excuses. Well, if my business doesn't do this, then I don't want it. Or like, if, my business has to be really, really easy or else I'm not going to do it. Like, no, your business is going to take time, and your business is going to take effort, and your business is going to take consistency in order for it to work. I have clients all the time who absolutely kill it, and they're still in 9-to-5s. And that's fine. That's normal. But they have a specific element of sacrifice. In fact, I had a client who was a single mom, 3 children, managed to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning every single morning. And she made all of her content. She did all of her business stuff in that time period. Then her kids woke up. Then she'd get them ready for school. And then she'd go to work. And during her breaks in work, she would have her coaching calls with me. And she managed to do all of this. Was she tired? Probably, right? There's going to be a specific area or point in time where you're going to have a tipping point of, okay, now my business is making enough so I can leave my 9-to-5, or now my business is making enough so I can go part-time, or maybe you want to hire someone to help you with your business so that it's not taking up all of your time. But you need to understand, what is it that you're currently prioritizing? And do you want to prioritize that, or do you want to prioritize the thing that you want to become consistent in? So that's one of the first things. Another thing that I notice is my clients will say things logically. So they will say, well, yes, I have these specific times that I can work on my business. And I'll be like, okay, well, are you working those times in your business? And they'll say, yes, but it's really hard. And then we'll kind of go through what the really hard is. And a lot of the times it's, when they really start opening up about things, and I find this truly fascinating, when they really start opening up about things, they start to say, well, my mom calls me and then complains about this thing, or I find that this family member just needs so much of my attention, or the school called, or like I'm on this specific parent board and I have to do this thing. And so their attention is being called in so many different directions. And not only their attention, but their energy is being called in so many different directions. And then what we have to ask is, are those directions important to you? Is not taking time for your business and having your energy go into those directions, is that important to you? And usually they say no, right? Like, no, I'd much rather focus on my business, because these are people who are serious. They're serious about their growth. So then the next question becomes, okay, well, why can't you say no? And I want you to just kind of think about that. Why can't you say no to so many of these other things that are going on in your life that are impeding you from being fully consistent in your business? And like, I'm going to let you sit with that one, just because I feel like that is really, really important. And as you sit with it, I'll tell you a story. When I was first starting my business back in 2015, 2016, I was working a 9-to-5 in Toronto. I had my commutes on the highway where I'd be stuck in traffic. And I also had a dog. We had just finished getting my dog Mango. And I had to walk him in the morning. I had to walk him when I came home from work. There was a lot of responsibility around that too. And I knew that when I started my business, that there were other things that would have to fall to the side. So I knew that I had really important things that I wanted to maintain. Dates with my husband, for example, that was really important to me. Time with my friends, important to me, right? My time doing my own yoga practice, important to me. And so I'd still wake up in the morning. I'd still wake up at 5 a.m., bring my dog for a walk, and then do my morning yoga practice. But there were also things that weren't as important to me. And I knew that I would have to let these things go. And at the time, I was volunteering a lot. I was volunteering a lot of my time with different organizations. And so I just had to go back to those organizations. And I said, no, I can't do this. I had a friend who wanted me to be a part of her wedding party, and she had this very extensive list of things that she was going to be doing for her wedding. And I told her straight up, all of my time, my extra time, and my extra money, my extra finances are all going to be put into my business. I'm very committed to this. I'm very serious about it. And so therefore, I would love to be a part of your wedding party, but these are my own stipulations for it. And she agreed. And so I was a bridesmaid, but I didn't do everything that everyone else did in the wedding party because I had my own priorities. And so I needed to have the power and my own authority and my own agency to say no to the things that were not going to bring me closer to what I actually wanted. And that's exactly how I was able to quit my 9-to-5 within a year of starting my business, because I was very, very serious and committed to my goals. And so now I'm going to talk to all of you who feel like you do have time, but you don't have consistency. And this is another one. This is something that's a little bit more complex. This is actually something that once I started saying no to things, got the time that I needed, what I also realized was that a lot of my own inconsistencies came from my own belief system about what I could and could not achieve. You are so much more likely to be consistent if you believe in what it is that you're doing and you believe in the journey that you're doing it with. You are just so positive about what it is that you're doing. You see the road in front of you, you're going to be consistent with it. But if you don't see the road in front of you, if you have no idea what your next step is, that is also what's going to stop you from being very consistent with what you're doing. And so for those of you who are in that camp, you need a roadmap. You need a blueprint. It's that simple. You need someone to hold your hand, hold you accountable, and show you exactly how to do the thing that you want to do and get the results that you want to get. This is exactly why I do business coaching. This is actually why I mentor. I mentor hundreds of people around this because it works. This is also why I have my own mentors, because it works. So if you're lacking consistency and you know it's not time-based, it's because of your analysis paralysis. It's very likely because you don't know what your next step is and you don't trust your next step. So you need to find someone and you need to find a strategy that works, that's had repeatable results so that you can implement that. Could you imagine how much more trusting you'd be? Could you imagine how much more consistent you would be if you had something that worked? That is my biggest take for anyone who is struggling with consistency but has the time. So it's not a time-based thing. It's actually motivation. And it's motivation because of the reassurance that you need in having a plan. And if you're not confident enough in your current plan, you're going to lack consistency. It's as simple as that. So the way to create more consistency in your business, if you have the time for it, is to have a solid plan that you feel really confident in. And if you don't have it now, you need to go out and you need to look for it, because there is nothing better than finally having the plan that you need and just implementing it. All you need to do is just focus on the implementation. That's it. So I'm going to leave you with that. And I will come to you very soon with another episode. Thank you so much for listening. And I'd love to hear what you thought about this one. If you would love to share with me, you can always find me at Sara without an H, J Loureiro. So that's Sara J Loureiro on Instagram. Just message me. I'd love to hear how much you liked this episode. If you feel like you have a friend who could use this, please share it with them as well. Share the love. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. If you enjoy our show and would like the show notes and free goodies about how to grow your online coaching business, head over to sarajloureiro.com for more information. We hope you'll tune in next time.